Subscribe to Simply Bitcoin.
A while back. Okay, what do we want to
Thank God it's a stream test.
Right. It's the
Or
easiest
thank
out
whatever
ever.
higher power. We don't want to force that on anybody. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Just, you know.
Send it away, Phil.
All right, I'm going to start over again just to do everybody a favor. So here we go. My name is Coinicarus, and this episode of the Meme Factory Stream Test is brought to you by the best new product in Bitcoin. Introducing FlipSwap. What is FlipSwap? Good question. Dive into the depths of Bitcoin's most enigmatic layer. Yes, you heard it right. We're peeling back the curtain on the little known yet most used layer of Bitcoin. Do you use Liquid? Of course not. But you probably already use FlipSwap. FlipSwap is its own patented open source Bitcoin layer, a revolutionary platform for, well, stuff and things and people, streetlights. It's the only place where you can get and send anonymous and untraceable poops to any podcaster to your choosing. Yeah, really. But wait, there's more. Need to pre-record up to 1 hour of content for later release and swap it for a live space? FlipSwap makes it easy as flipping a switch. The same switch that now lets you make bulk orders of Red Bull anonymously. We're looking at you, Yellow. And for the purse touch, FlipSwap now comes with cat sounds. Convince your friends that Zuzu isn't just alive, but meowing and thriving. FlipSwap isn't just a platform. It's a lifestyle, and it comes in multiple flavors. It's everything you never knew you needed. FlipSwap. It's ambiguous and sexy at the same time. Join the legions of Bitcoiners using this free Bitcoin layer for the low reoccurring monthly price of $9.99. Why? Because why not? FlipSwap. Disclaimer. Suscorp is the sole owner of the FlipSwap IP. Any party that disputes this fact is fake, gay, and yellow.
All of the above, huh?
Brought to you by Carl's Jr.
Fantastic.
Nice. All
Fuck
right.
you.
Wow.
David.
I think while you did that, I ironed out the rest of the sound issues, which is going to upset some people because they wanted me to stay muted, but I think they can now hear me.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. Barry's
You
clapping.
think that's really what they wanted?
No.
You think they wanted the host of the show to stay muted?
I mean, have you?
So hold on, I wanted to add something because Yellow got to say what changed, right? But I'm the guest. I didn't get to say what changed. So I'm going to say that Greg looks more mature. He's got this very mature look.
He's calling you old. He's calling you
No,
old.
not old.
Crow's feet, right?
It's different.
Crow's feet.
It's wisdom. It's this look of wisdom. It's like
I'm
now
wizened.
he knows shit. It's like now somebody will say something and he's just like, nah, I know shit. It's okay.
Matura.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Oh man, you know what's this happens every 2 years. There's politicians trying to orange wash themselves with Bitcoin, and we've been seeing a bunch of that lately. And I wanted to get your take on whether or not it's any different from previous orange washing campaigns, or if there's any meat to what we're seeing in the news. Also, I know that we just pulled you off your motorcycle ride, but I really like your riding glasses.
Thank you. So motorcycle glasses, I appreciate that. Somebody else said that they would use them for carpentry work. They look like good safety glasses. So at least I know I'm on the right track. At least I know that I'm on the right track with these frames. No, but that's it. These are the new bull market frames because we're entering the bull market, right? Like those other frames, they were like flimsy and thin because it was fucking bear market.
Are we talking about the big ones?
No.
Or
It was
the
in middle.
intermediate-
It was in
the
the middle
intermediate
between
ones.
the
Okay.
giant. Yeah, in the middle. It was the bear market frames, barely even
We
see
actually-
them, Bull market frames
actually-
change.
We actually got a question relative to your glasses.
We did.
They were
Of course
asking
you
if you get big frames or small frames depending the price of Bitcoin.
No, I don't. I actually don't. I'm just joking about that, about the bear market and stuff. Really, all that happened quickly before I actually get to your real question, all that happened is this, right? I always wanted to have those giant glasses because I saw them in, I think it was either the movie Casino or Heat. And I think it might be, it might be Casino. I think it's Robert De Niro that wears
Yeah,
them.
Casino.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit. I'm like, those are the glasses. I'm like, because they're geeky enough, but at the same time, they're bold enough that it's like, I don't know. It's had this, it's an interesting, and I will say this, people treat you differently when you wear glasses like this. And I kid you not, okay? My wife was very honest about this. Gotta love her. She was like, they're treating you special because they think you're regarded. Oh. She's like, they think that you're slow. I'm like,
You're like, they
really?
figured it out?
And people were so nice to me. People are all so kind. I couldn't figure it out. I thought maybe it's just because I looked so unthreatening. This guy with these giant glasses, whatever, he must be just some moron. But it was worse than that, I'm sure. Anyways, yeah. So the orange washing. I guess we're talking about the orange man.
Yeah,
Specifically,
So,
or are you talking about the whole
well,
thing? Anybody says anything, and it's fantastic because they said it.
I think it's anybody says anything, and it's fantastic because they said
yeah.
it. So we've had Robert Kennedy, who was a Bitcoiner for about a day or two. We now have Trump, who's
Before he went to the ETH conference.
right, who's been a Bitcoiner for a week, and then Biden is making happy Bitcoin noises as well, kind of. So what is
Somebody
this?
gave him a script.
What is this?
Yeah, Biden got his script. He's like, okay, I got to say Bitcoin now. But okay, so Trump too. I totally appreciate, obviously, right? This is my whole stance. I'm one of those people who kind of shits on things, but at the same time, I can appreciate that it's being done because, of course, I love Bitcoin. I have Bitcoin, so of course I want them to say Bitcoin. But at the same time, I hate putting hopes and dreams into people that do not have incentives aligned with me, right? And that's the thing. Let's be honest. They're saying Bitcoin for a different reason than I'm saying Bitcoin. So I appreciate that they're saying it, but I'm not putting very much weight in what happens from them saying it, and or if they get into office, like I'm talking about Trump in that case. If he gets in office, what is he really going to do? And specifically for Biden, is he actually going to do anything? If he stays in office, which I don't want to get into either of those conversations because politics suck and it's all fake. And
Yeah, no, that's not
Kind of like Star Wars, in my opinion. Like, when I was a kid, like Star Wars was like the best thing. It was just like revolutionary. It was great. And then like we get older, and then Disney buys it, and now like people that they just found Star Wars. All right, they're like 35 years old. Like, I've always liked Star Wars. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't like Star Wars like I did. And they're just saying, oh, the new show's great. It doesn't matter what everybody else is saying. It's great. But when you go back and watch it, it's just like, what are we doing here? Why are we talking about this? This is trash. I like Star Wars better when it was kind of, a little nostalgia, a little underground. But now when it starts to get like a little bit more mainstream with this new, like, people talking about it, I'm just like, get out of here with this. Get out of here. No. Does that make sense?
That totally makes sense.
total sense. Yeah.
Thanks, Phil.
I can't disagree with that at all. I have to admit, like, even though I do appreciate The Mandalorian, right? I mean, that music,
that was a good one.
music is
That was a
right?
good one.
And the music is fantastic,
good
gets
one.
you in the mood. But otherwise, it's very
It's
disappointing.
trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, very. Yeah.
You
Like, why did
get
they
one
have to insert-
Mandalorian for every.
What?
You get one when you get one Mandalorian for 10 potatoes. That's amazing.
What an
I'll
exchange!
take that ratio.
Where is this market? Where this exchange can happen?
I think it's Disney Plus.
Well, Disney Plus.
Yeah,
of course it
Disney
is.
Plus.
It's also
Okay,
it's also on Flip Swap. I think that
I
that new
have
layer.
a main question for you, Coinicarus. And it is something that I feel not only me, but a lot of people lately are feeling. Because I talk with a lot of people about this in DMs mostly. It's about the vibes or the feeling that we get lately of not belonging, or something that has changed, or whatever you want to call it. And how do you feel about it? That is Bitcoin, the Bitcoin thing changing? Are we out of place now? Are we getting old? Like, what is this about, really?
Are we getting mature?
Because like some people are talking about like a demographic change even happening in Bitcoiners. Others are talking about like the macro guys won, basically. The ETFs are here, and that changed the scene a little bit. Like, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, that's a multi-pronged question, right? Because there's a whole bunch of, like, as you know, right? There's no.
I need a feel Coinicarus rip. Go for it.
Uh-oh. All right. Well, I'll see what I can produce. I'm not really good at producing anything on the spot. Hence why I record all the episodes and not do them live.
Sorry.
Bullshit.
Yeah, that's a live. We are just here. We're just talking between us. Like, how do you feel about it?
So look, it's like essentially there's this, right? As you know, there's no community, so to speak, but there's like all these like multiple communities and or whatever you want to call them, multiple networks of people, however it is that you want to frame it so that you don't feel like bad about it, because I know that people for some reason get really upset if you refer to them as part of any kind of community. So anyways, it's kind of weird. I definitely feel that things have changed. I feel that like the vibe that we had in like 2017, 2018 was like this much more, there was a much clearer definition between kind of like average everyday Bitcoiners, like we'll just average working people stacking sats and influencers. There was a much clearer line, and not that it matters, right? Like not that necessarily it's like good or bad. It's just a difference in the way that it was. And essentially like, people were kind of in that time, not afraid to go at influencers, and kind of call them out on their bullshit. And now you see a lot less of that. And you see people just essentially giving a pass and, kind of just, being okay with it's a net positive. He's a net positive for Bitcoin. It's okay, and then they just kind of give it a pass. And then some people, kind of give you shit if you crap on the hopium salesman, So it's kind of like that. I think that part of the vibe has changed. In terms of the TradFi guys, 100%. Like, I don't think that TradFi won, so to speak, because I do believe that Bitcoin is a Trojan horse. So to me, like, I don't really care that these guys are here. I think guys like Fred fucking suck. I think his name is Fred. Yeah, Fred Krueger. I think he sucks. But like, that's just because he's ridiculous, and he immediately began to shill Thorcoin or Thorchain or whatever the hell that bullshit is, where he's pretending that he's yielding on Bitcoin or something, some nonsense. Yeah, that was a good one. I actually had to mute him so that I stopped, engaging with his account, because even screenshots apparently, are too good. So, but yeah, I do think that the TradFi guys, they introduced this aspect to Bitcoin that is much less grassroots and much more like corporate, Like, I think I just saw a tweet where like Jack Mallers is wearing a suit next to Bukele wearing a suit.
Right.
Not that I have anything wrong with people wearing suits.
I saw that.
But there is an argument to be made where suits strip away your individuality, and that's by design. Like,
the one thing I liked about Jack Mallers was he's a hoodie guy,
Yeah.
He's, not so much the Crocs, but he's just walking around in a hoodie saying, fuck the IRS and shit. I love that.
I don't think he ever walked around in just a hoodie, right? Like no bottoms. Is that what you're talking?
I mean, if that's what he wants to do, I mean, I'm not gonna try to stop him.
Well, he's a baller, so
it's
You've
not
seen him on stage. He was wearing pants.
Yeah. I mean, much to my dismay. I mean, what?
What?
Moving on.
Anyway, So anyways, going back to my long drivel to answer Yellow's question. Essentially, like, I definitely feel like a rift in that there's now more networks or more communities or environments or whatever it is, and people are more separated in Bitcoin. Like, people are way more separated, and now you have like all of this. So you start to bring in like the filterers and the non-filterers, right? And then so then you have to pick a side. So apparently, if you're not for filtering because you just don't know enough and are willing to say maybe this isn't the right thing, well, apparently that makes you automatically against them, and now you're an enemy. So there's that aspect of it, and now you also have the other Bitcoiners that have also fractured off, that the shitcoin, the ordinal Bitcoiners, right? That believe that the runes and the stamps and all this crap are some kind of magic thing that brings adoption to Bitcoin. And
I feel like that's kind of tapered off, though.
Yeah, they kind of have, but they're still there. They do little, here and there. They're still there.
Yeah, so are the Hex guys and the XRP army. They're still here and there
still
around, but like they die. They're shitcoins. They die.
Well, look, the runes guys had their day on the halvening, right? Like, they had that day. Yeah, or sorry, that afternoon. That time when the fees went up for a little while. They had a moment. They had a moment. And it's over. But yeah, I definitely think that there's some fracturing, Yellow. I definitely feel that the vibe has changed. More plebs have become more corporate. And I think that that's part of the reason why that change has occurred. So
you think that the more outspoken plebs, basically who you would take as the voices of the community in like 2017, 2018, have taken the path of more corporatism. So like it's more of a more corporate messaging than grassroots messaging these days.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
That's and
it's just kind of too bad. Right. But unfortunately, this is kind of the path that we're on. Guys like Corey, right? Like Corey, before he started Swan, like him and Brady and whoever else, we're all just plebs, and we were all just hanging out in chats and stuff, and, hanging out with like Ansel Lindner and, listening to his Bitcoin and Markets show, which is still absolutely amazing. And Ansel Lindner, freaking grinds it out like all the time. And that is solid signal. Anyways, my point is that, all of those plebs, right? They, quote unquote, grew up, so to speak, and then corporatized that, that part of their pleb culture, so to speak. So I guess it's only natural. There'll be new plebs, right, that come in. There'll be, I think that, as Bitcoin continues to grow, there'll be more plebs. And something that's interesting is that we're starting to see more like kind of plebs from around the world, right? Most of the plebs that I kind of got to know from the, when I started off in this space, like mostly Canadian and American. And now there's like all kinds of plebs from all over the world, like Portugal and Brazil and Argentina, and it's awesome.
You're saying they need to learn how to speak English.
Sorry?
You're saying they need to learn how to speak English.
Well, I'm not learning how to speak their language, so I'm just saying. Look, I know how to speak French and English. That's as far as I go.
I wouldn't admit that out loud. Personally, that's just me.
Oh, okay. Well, I did.
Parlez-vous français?
Oui, je parle français.
No.
I don't know what that means.
No.
I said it.
It's awful. Yeah,
I think you just said that French is not good. Is that what that means?
That's exactly what that means in French, which is like a double insult.
Yeah.
I'm not going to disagree with him because of where I come from. So I have my own reservations about that language. So yeah,
reservations is
the people for me.
Reservations, yeah. Now being from Quebec and being an English person, so you have your own reservations. Anyways, continue.
Well, we were talking about the corporatization of plebs and pleb culture, and another outcropping of that I've noticed is that people get out over their skis on Bitcoin. And they don't tell anybody else. Like they say, "Oh, I know what Bitcoin's going to do. I'm going to use some leverage to get what I think I can get is more Bitcoin. I'm going to get some more Bitcoin." And then no matter what, that person gets wrecked. Like every time the person who thinks they figured out the Bitcoin cycle gets wrecked. And that always leads to shitcoining. All right, well, I'll figure out what shitcoins are going to pump, and I'll get my bag back that way.
Or it leads to somebody doing daily spaces every day for about 3 years.
There's that as well.
That's the other side.
That's what happens when you leverage your time and not the Bitcoin. So I can do this for a few months.
Oh, he's already dead.
God damn it, stop it, guys. Why are you hitting like a bit? I'm dying here. Come on. Please.
He's done so many of those spaces.
But it begs the question. So many people try this strategy. Like, can you outperform Bitcoin by trading shitcoins?
Okay. So the real answer is yes. And if you sign up for my no, of course not. So look, like the reality is that if you just put the blinders on and you pretend that reality doesn't exist, yes, okay, like you can go beat Bitcoin. But if you're being realistic, you are not going to buy the bottom of the shitcoin that does the 30,000x. You're not going to sell that top of the other shitcoin that does the 30,000x, okay? And you're not going to be able to get any of that liquidity out to turn it into Bitcoin. So for every person that you see, right, that claims to have done that, there's thousands of silent, wrecked people holding bags, hoping to God, okay, that theirs does the same thing, but they're never going to capture those moves, and that's the honest to God truth. Like really, like as much as people think that they're going to be able to capture those moves, they just absolutely won't. And now there's, what is it? Are we up to like 2.9 million shitcoins that you can trade? Because now there's...
Is it really that high?
Dude, like at this point, there's tokens, right, that are like wrapped on Solana and wrapped on these other chains. Like they none of them are paired to Bitcoin. None of them are even paired to crappy ETH, right? They're paired to like who the hell knows what on Solana. So
just floating.
So the truth of the matter is that like the odds of you outsmarting the entire market, or even better, outsmarting the guys who paid the marketing, right? The guys who hold the pre-mined tokens that are dumping. If you think that you with like your fucking search engine and like, your research skills are going to outdo these people, very mistaken, and you're gonna end up wrecked. And like, trust me, like I had hubris like this. Like, my story, like many of my stories, because I did a lot of shitcoining. And dude, I had tons of hubris, and I thought that I could beat that market 50 times over. Okay. I was certain of it because I came from a background of trading and I had done successfully in equities for myself as a person who wasn't doing this full time. So I was like, of course I could find the next freaking, 20,000 Xer. How hard could that be? Here we are. So, yeah, it's like, yeah, you know what? I did find it in Bitcoin. Like, and like that's where it went, because that's the other thing too, right? It's that time asymmetry. It's like, okay, do I want to spend my time on something that will just, give me some type of a reoccurring income that I could then pour into Bitcoin? Like, I'll just do my best at that and pour it into Bitcoin? Or am I going to sit here wasting all this time reading all these white papers, going through all these different chats, trying to constantly figure out which one's it going to be?
And so many people choose that.
Because they all think that they're the one, right? Everybody's Neo. Everyone is Neo. They are all the one. They're going to figure it out, dude. Huh?
We all woke up. We all saw the Matrix.
Whoa.
Up as Fragged had a funny comment. He wrote, can't outsmart a pre-mine. Up as Fragged.
Up as Fragged.
Hadn't seen him before.
What was wrong with the pre-mine?
Just, he said, can't outsmart a pre-mine. I like that.
Nope. It's true. It's totally true. I mean, come on. Like, those people, you think they don't know when to dump their bags? Like, they created them. So
yeah, they're going to have a meeting.
So
it's not going to be posted anywhere. And then they're going to dump on you.
Exactly. And like, if you take a look at every single one of them, I mean, this is like, it's par for the course. Every single shitcoin you look at, put it up against BTC. If it has a BTC chart, it like, you'll see it right there. Its value just dwindles. Why even bother?
And that's not just shitcoins. That's like anything. You price anything in Bitcoin over a long enough time, it's just like straight down. Everything gets cheaper. I love it.
The Bitcoin Bugle asks, what is the definition of
the Bitcoin butthole?
Bugle. Bugle.
Bugle.
Bugle. Bugle.
Bugle.
The bugle.
Bugle.
Awesome.
What is the definition of a Bitcoin pleb?
I've been asked that one before. That's a tough one, right? Like, that's a tough question, because like that would just be my framing, right? So like, what's a Bitcoin pleb? I think it's yeah, I mean, I guess so, right? If we talk about the definition of like where it comes from, right? It actually comes from, like what Yellow just said, it comes from the taco plebs, which was started by, Pirate and Hodl and Not, and so that's the actual definition of a taco pleb, right?
And I was also around, but Bart doesn't want to address that for some reason.
Bart?
Yeah.
Bart was also around back then too, but he for some reason quickly escaped. I don't know why.
I know.
He's a good dude. But yeah, so essentially the whole joke is it had to do with that. I don't know if it's the Satoshi round table. So this was back when the plebs used to, pick on the influencers and call them out for their circle jerking bullshit. And what happened was that they had that Satoshi round table thing. So Pirate and I don't know who else came up with the joke of having a taco dinner. So they sent out pictures of like this taco dinner that they supposedly had. And that was kind of the roots of like where the taco came into the scene, and pleb is, of course, a commoner, right? If you look up the actual definition of the term pleb, right? If you go back in history, it's just it's not it's not even a middle class. It's kind of like a low class commoner. But in terms of Bitcoin, right? Like my definition of pleb, it's really anybody that that comes to Bitcoin with the ethos of they are they're here for the freedom money, like they are here for the qualities of Bitcoin, so to speak, right? The censorship resistant, the fact that the government doesn't control this thing, the fact that it enables them to transfer that value all around the world, and of course go anywhere at the drop of a hat, and you can bring your value with you. So it's like, to a certain extent, I think it's kind of like the people that really kind of embody those ethos, but also, I guess, philosophically, kind of the seeing the aims that Bitcoin can enable if, or I should say when, right, we move to a Bitcoin standard, whatever that looks like, because to everybody that looks like different things. So yeah, I think that, like, I think, like, for example, right, I don't think guys like Fred are plebs, right? I don't think he's a pleb. And it's just because I don't think, like, he really believes in the ethos of Bitcoin. And as a matter of fact, he went and he shilled Thorchain, which is total crap. So hundreds of thousands of followers and you're shilling them total garbage. Like, I'd like to believe a pleb wouldn't do that. I'd like to believe a pleb would call that out. So for me, like, that's a situation where I can give an example of, like, some pleb type of behavior, so to speak, right?
See, I feel like the influencers are still getting called out. I mean, there was that whole round robin that just happened with Bum Check, right?
Yeah. It's interesting. The fact, so, okay, I don't disagree with you, but I also saw Bitcoiners, and maybe it has to do with who they follow, Bitcoiners that were like, yeah, no, I didn't see anybody calling him out before that. Like, dude, you haven't been in this fucking, like, how long have you been in this space, man? Like, before you make a comment like that, maybe you should, like, look shit up. Look, everybody has, everybody's going to do whatever it is they're compelled to do. But I could tell you, like, when I first got onto Bitcoin Twitter and I saw these conversations that I was watching between, between developers, between, fellow Bitcoiners, these types of long arguments back and forth, what I understood in my eyes was that I had to first learn the landscape that I was looking at. I had to first understand what it was that I was entering before I could start to make comments and feel that either I deserve to be asking this question or even deserve that it should be answered. So to me, like, it's like some of these people, it's like, you should slow your fucking roll, man, and do some research before you sit there and start acting like people haven't been calling these fuckers out forever, because we have, and nobody listens. Nobody listens because they say the magic words. That's the truth. That, what I mean by that is, yeah, the magic words. It's always like this sequence of, like, mental masturbation, right?
Oh,
where
yeah.
like the typical long form. Like, I can't just tell you I'm opening the door. There was like a brisk wind and the sun shone and I slowly crept up. Like, shut the fuck up, man! You opened the door. Like, it's so that's kind of my point. So they say it in this way that makes the listener feel intelligent. The listener's listening to this, he's fucking going at it too. He's thrilled, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Yeah, Bitcoin's going to $1 million." Say it, Breedlove.
Can I
tell it?
Can I add something to this?
I'm telling you, man.
Yeah.
So I feel like in all the subjects that we have touched until now, the main idea behind them is the hypocrisy. Like, the pleb movement was against the hypocrisy of the influencers being hypocritical themselves. And do you feel like the things that we keep on saying and we keep on using as mottos as Bitcoiners have also a sense of hypocrisy in them? Like, because lately, personally, I'm not only tired of making fun and memeing against the influencers, which I still try to do, even though that fire isn't inside me that much anymore for some reason. But also, I'm really triggered also by the same Bitcoiners too, saying the same shit all over and over again. Especially now that I know stuff, like, at least, like, the negative things I do, or the hypocritical things that I do, I try and be sincere about it, and that's my absolution from them. But I don't know. Is there hypocrisy behind saying the old shit over and over again?
No, I'm not frozen. I was just joking. So I was just I was just thinking about it. So yes, so I've had this. I've had this debate myself with myself, right? Because human beings are hypocrites. We just are. Like the dualistic nature of who we are, right? Like good and evil, hot and cold, good and bad, like all these things. Like it's just, you know, this is like this is the plane we're on. Like this is the material plane, you know? So to a certain extent, like hypocrisy is kind of like built into it. That being said, right? None of us are better than our incentives. We know this. That's one of the things that Bitcoiners say all the time, right? And that's one of those things right there where, yeah, I do think that we're being hypocrites because to a certain extent, right? There's the incentives that we are willing to talk about out loud, right? That we're willing to accept in a public forum socially, right? That is a socially accepted incentive. And then there's an incentive that is kind of like hidden, right? Like it's like a hidden incentive that you don't see, you don't discuss. And I think that's kind of true of everything. So, you know, to go back to your question about that, we do, unfortunately, like saying the same things over and over again. To a certain extent, we kind of have to say the same things over and over again because it's always new people coming. And for some reason, nobody wants to do their own research. So you end up having to say the same catchphrases over and over again. But at the same time, it is kind of hypocritical because, look, you know, I hate to use Breedlove as an example, but he's just the most recent example. So I apologize, you know, like not trying to pick on him. Yeah, we've done that enough throughout the years.
He makes an easy example.
But, yeah, he just makes it really easy to show this. But like, look, you know, like you can't sit there and talk about like family and all of this wonderful stuff about it and then be doing this other behavior. And again, there's nothing wrong with, you know, to each their own. If he wants to do that shit, that's totally up to him. But like, don't LARP about this other thing, you know? So it's that type of hypocrisy. And this isn't just in Bitcoin, right? This is just in humanity. This is just like in our everyday lives. And it's totally acceptable. We all accept it, like in every facet. I mean, think about it. Even at work, right? You'll do something, let's be honest, that there's many people that will not stand up in a corporate job and do the right thing for the customer if it means rocking the boat corporately, okay? I know this. I've been in that situation. And we're not talking about like some flimsy little fucking like $500,000 deal. You know, like we're talking tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars in some cases. And believe me, they're not going to do the right thing. They're going to do what's right for the company. And if you are going to rock the fucking boat, then they are going to take you out of that boat. Okay? Like that's, so yes, hypocrisy is like baked into the crust, you know? Sorry, I got mad about that one because, yeah.
No, I've been kicked off the boat a couple of times myself. It's
because fuck those companies.
Yeah.
So you've also kicked people off the boat too. Let's not forget that.
I don't know if I'd call the meme factory a boat.
Well, it's.
I mean, he's talking about tens of millions of dollars of deals. Watercraft, personal watercraft.
It's like an inflatable with a little inflatable circle, the donut. It's like kind of like that.
Yeah, like one of those things you would see in like Vietnam fishing village. One of those.
Yeah.
Those are sturdy. How sturdy are those?
They're fast, and they get the job done.
I don't think they're sturdy though.
Yeah, I don't think we're fast.
How fast could they be?
I don't feel fast right now.
I watched a video today. It was titled "Just a Day in the Life on the River in Vietnam," and it was like all these boats just getting crushed by big boats going up and down this river. I was like, Jesus Christ! Like, does this happen enough that they made a video? I saw like 10 boats in the span of a minute just going under other boats and getting smashed. It's like, what the fuck is this? Anyway, we're a small boat. That was the point.
That's okay. That's okay. You don't need to be a big boat.
Fair enough.
Stop the leaks, for God's sake.
The what?
Bigger the boat, bigger the accident.
The what?
What?
What? The leaks.
He said stop the leaks.
Stop the leaks.
Yeah.
The leaks.
I don't know about that.
Well, there's
We're
always
taking on
leaks.
water, Captain.
Yeah, that happens. The boat's under attack.
I have no idea which story we're in now. I'm just putting that out there.
We can switch gears.
We
can switch gears. I want to talk to you about Lightning.
Uh-oh.
So recently I've seen people saying Lightning is under attack. I don't understand at all how or why Lightning is under attack, but if you could tell me, that'd be fantastic.
Well, that was a catchphrase for a title for a clip that I made. Yeah, because apparently you have to make a whole bunch of catchy titles, to get people to look at it, which doesn't surprise me. I don't know. It's weird, right?
Well,
Like I'll sit there and be like, I don't really care about titles, and I don't. But like, no one else is like that. So you can't go make content for me.
At least you guys don't put sailor all the time in your thumbnails.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah, it's okay. That's okay. Enough. There's enough people. There's enough people hoisting him up on their shoulders that he doesn't need me. That's okay.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, no. So like essentially, the Europe is kind of
Europe.
Right? This is the and the irony, right? This is specifically, it is the European Innovation Hub, the internet or the cyber security whatever thing.
This sounds like it's coming out of the Balkans.
Yeah, it's total garbage. It's completely. No, it is.
Yeah, no, the Balkans.
Hold on, I have to go find the name because it's just so stupid. Yeah, the EU Innovation Hub for Internet Security. Like, it's just words. It's just words. Why do they even call that innovation? So the whole point is that, of course, right? They finally just figured out that they can't see transactions on Lightning. So number one. Fuck all those privacy people that say Lightning doesn't work and that Lightning isn't private, because take a look, government doesn't like it. So yeah, it's private. Otherwise, they wouldn't be crying about it. So
non-custodial.
Non-custodial, of course, right? Because custodial, people can mess with your stuff. But yes, non-custodially, right? If we set up a Lightning channel together, nobody can see anything between us. So that is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, privacy. The privacy guy's in disbelief a little bit. So that's number one. But number two,
he said number
they
two.
Actually think, huh?
You said number two.
I said number two. Yeah, of course. Boo. Anyways, so look, the second thing is that they put it in the same category as they put it in the same category as Samurai, which I don't know how they're going to pull that off, because Samurai is a totally different thing. But they're kind of essentially what they're trying to do is they're trying to classify all this stuff together, right? To make it so that you can't use any of this. And of course, what this invites is the thing that we all fear the most: custodial wallets, right? That's what it all equals. It's like, well, wait a second. Sorry, non-custodial wallets. I always get the two confused. But like, yeah, offline wallets and stuff like that. Like, that's what it brings next, and that's exactly what they mentioned. Because as soon as the EU Innovation Hub started crying about Lightning, the next thing was, well, we need to examine, what are the full functions of these non-custodial wallets. What the fuck is going on here? Yeah. And you know what? I remember this from like 4 years ago. Okay. 4 years ago, we used to sit there and bitch about this. Non-custodial and custodial don't exist. You either have your keys or you don't. Doesn't matter whose wallet it is. You either have keys or you don't. And it's these institutions, and I believe, to a certain extent, corporate-owned media, that has kept saying these words. And so now everybody just says these words. And we just accept them for being this thing. But it's like, no, this isn't, either I have keys to this thing or I don't. But by them creating this definition, the next thing is they're able to impose laws on this because it's real. Like, dude, I mean, I know I totally sound nuts, but like, that's what it is. This is what they do. And before we know it, we're following laws for something that didn't exist. So
you're saying the playbook is that they see a problem, but it has no definition, and they create a definition for the problem that they're seeking. Yes. And then they create a problem around that problem so that they can legislate it. Is that about right?
That's about right.
Then they can stick their hands further in your pockets.
But by the way, I read today that law was taken back because it didn't have support. So for now, that law is not going to be voted.
Oh, thank God.
Not an issue. And the presidency is going to go to Hungary now, which Hungary is quite opposite in ideology against. No, they changed government though, right? Oh fuck, they changed government. Yes, Yeah, it's German owned, so it's the same shit. My bad.
Yeah, they're not going to be happy. They don't
Yeah.
want that. But
I'm just trying to figure
For
out where
now,
Yellow was
for
taking
now,
us on a
though,
walk
the
to.
law didn't have support, so it's not an issue, I think.
it's okay. I hope it stays a non-issue. I really hate when because this is the other part of it, right? Because like this is kind of one of the tricks of government. Okay, they'll introduce something that's really, really like stringent and terrible, and everyone's like, "Oh no, I can't have that," And they're like, "Okay, okay," they pull it back, right? They pull it back a little. Then they come back to you a few years later with this like light version, this like, "Oh, it's pretty bad, but it's not as terrible as that other one." I guess we'll concede and say okay. And this is what I mean when I say goose stepping. Like this is a playbook. This is what gets done. And the fact that human beings are actually doing this to other human beings, I find this incredibly remarkable.
The American way
pathetic, but
the American way is way better. You just like introduce a law, you name it freedom law, and it passes.
Or Patriot.
Or Patriot.
or Patriot law.
You just
Affordable Health Care Act.
Well, no. You see that what they would call it is the Best Healthcare in the World Act, and you would receive the worst healthcare. Like that's what they do, right? Like the Freedom Act is imprisonment.
Exactly. What does the law does? The law does B. Okay, we're gonna name it A.
Exactly. Wrapping in a flag.
It's so true, and like we're laughing about it, but like it's because what are you supposed to do? It kind of reminds me of the movie Idiocracy. You're watching the beginning of that movie. For anybody who's, I don't know if you guys have seen it, you must have seen it, and if you haven't seen Idiocracy, then I
love it.
It's a must see.
Yeah, it's a must see. Like I mean, at this point, it's become a documentary. It was supposed to be a comedy, but it's becoming a documentary. And my quick point on it is that the beginning of the movie, I was laughing my ass off, right, for like the first 30 seconds. Then you stop laughing.
Yeah, you really
like
do.
because you're laughing, but you realize like, oh wow, no, we are this stupid. Oh yeah, no, I see this type of stuff every day. That's where we're going. That and like you're just like now at this point after you see that you're just waiting. I mean. The whole Costco University thing, we are not that far. We are not far from Costco University.
I tried to watch
There's people that already said they would live in a Costco. I was having a conversation, I forget where. It was most likely
they're doing apartments.
Huh?
Costco is doing apartments. They're going to be like above the store.
So,
they're going to be doing apartments. Yeah.
So it's not a hallucination.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next up's the university. Like it's coming.
So right there. I mean, really?
The fuck, really? Costco is doing apartments?
I read an article about it like a week ago. Yeah.
We are so
They're
screwed.
storage units. They're just storage units with the roll-up garage door. You just go in there. It's like an 8x5.
It's a little hole for a crapper. There you go. A little hole for your wash your hands. Yeah. I'm so excited to have nothing and be happy and all that stuff.
Well, you're clearly not taking the right drugs to be happy. That's part of the equation.
We went to the Costco apartments downtown Detroit, and we orange peeled everyone. It is amazing. Like I can see future fucking Bitcoin YouTubers going to Costco apartments, and we orange peeled them.
We were at the Costco Commons.
Oh,
right?
Where hot dogs are still $1.50.
We're creating a circular economy around Costco apartments and Costco.
You never leave the Costco. You just go in a circle, up the elevator, down the elevator.
I am
and
so
then you work at Costco.
Yep, that's definitely the next step. I mean, why? Why not, right?
Make it easy.
If you're going to live there, it's going to be unaffordable most likely, and you're most likely going to be working there.
Yeah, fuck a 15-minute city. Let's make it a 30-second city. Just get everybody packed into that Costco like sardines. Holy shit.
Nobody's even talking about those, but those are still a thing.
Costco's? I love Costco, honestly.
No, not Costco's. Costco's, everybody's talking about them. They're awful. It's like a geriatric ward over there. I don't care what day of the week you go. Now, look, maybe it's just because I'm in Florida, but I just got to say that it's like a geriatric ward in there. It doesn't matter what day of the week I go. Maybe the weekend it's not. The weekends it's families, so it's totally different. But during the week, like Monday to Friday, It's brutal.
I think that might be a product of where you live, honestly.
It's quite possible. It's quite possible. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't doing Costco in Massachusetts, so because it was just too far away from me. I lived in
You
a
weren't
not
living
so
in
great.
it yet.
Huh?
You weren't living in it yet. They didn't have an apartment for you to stay in.
Soon. I hope that doesn't come
Soon,
to that.
TM.
I mean, even though my shirt says Clown World, I hope we're not really headed towards it.
I think the pendulum just is still going as far as it can go to Clown World before it starts swinging back. I think you got a little Clown World coming to go. That didn't make sense, that sentence, but you know what I mean.
He said
Get it
words.
together.
I did a breed love. I'm sorry.
I hate it when that happens.
Words.
It's terrible.
Word
Sometimes you run out of breath in
sounds.
the middle of a word. That's awful. Totally throws off everything you're going to say.
That is bad. It's real bad.
Yeah, it's bad. Not going to lie. It's bad.
So what are the important things happening in the Bitcoin space right now? I mean, obviously we've got FlipSwap and we've got Thorchain, but what are the real things that are actually important happening in Bitcoin?
Okay. Real things, right? Like actual important things are probably Bitcoin privacy, right? Bitcoin privacy is very important. As everybody, like I think a lot of people have been saying, especially more recently, right, with what we saw happen, with Wasabi, Samurai, Bitcoin privacy is back on the menu. So, people are talking about that. That's definitely a thing. I think from having gone to BTC++ and, doing the news desk with Walton, we got to speak to, all kinds of developers and, essentially the feeling that I get is that these guys, like these people, whether we agree with it or not, right? They kind of want to open a Pandora's box to a certain extent. And I say this because I don't actually understand it, right? This is to me like unknown unknowns. And, I just, I know that that's not a fun take, but that's what's real. I know that a lot of times people always think about like the rosy picture of like what it's going to be. Like right now, everybody's talking about covenants. They want covenants and like, it's gonna help with security. People can be able to share UTXOs and, it's gonna help onboard the next, 100 billion and all this stuff. Okay, I totally get it. It sounds awesome. Right? But like we also at the same time, there's a reason why everything takes so long in Bitcoin, and it's because people need to have these discussions. There needs to be those discussions where like people are talking about the negative use cases. And that's kind of like, I think that's actually starting to happen. Like there's different developers in the space now, and they're having like, I don't know if they're having necessarily different conversations, but I'm feeling like some of them are willing to talk a little bit more about the negative externalities of implementing some of these changes. No, we don't know what type of shitcoining this is going to enable. We don't really know like what this means, So again, I think that I think Rusty's project, right? The great script restoral, like essentially what that means, right, is to essentially restore back all the opcodes, right? So all these opcodes were taken out a long time ago, right, to be able to do all kinds of stuff in Bitcoin, make it Turing complete, so to speak. Which we know where that comes. I mean, I shouldn't say where we know where that comes from.
That's a four-letter word.
It's a much older term, but it's used in shitty Ethereum. So anyways, but it's kind of like, again, it sounds like a Pandora's box. And look, you speak to these guys and they're super sharp and they're excited and everything like that. And that's wonderful, right? But I've seen lots of really enthusiastic people throughout my life essentially blow things up.
The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Every time.
Right? It's it's brutal. Like when something goes and like honestly, when you're sitting in one of those situations where like some guy turns something on and like, I don't know, like 1,000 different data points just disappear. They're like, I didn't think, And like, it's like you're sitting there going like, but you were so sure. You were so sure. Like, it's like
you were so sure you could do it. You didn't
right?
think about whether or not you should.
They were so sure. And like that's going to be and in Bitcoin, right? Like we don't have that luxury. Like those data points like are possibly somebody's livelihood, right? That's somebody's maybe retirement. It's like, I didn't realize we're going to get a patch. It's like This is not how this works. And I do feel bad because that does put a lot of pressure on devs. I personally would not want to be a Bitcoin Core dev for that reason, because I do not have the right type of emotional and mental, because I would be constantly thinking about how everybody's essentially wealth that's in Bitcoin relies on my decision making. And as much as I trust myself, I don't necessarily trust myself to, have that many other people rely on me necessarily. It's different to have a family rely on you. It's a different story to have like all these other people relying on you. So I don't know. It's just different. But yeah. So I don't know. I think that's what's really important right now. It's this being my third cycle. I can honestly say that like the noise from all of these cheerleaders and stuff, it's very tiring, and it's tiring very quickly. And as long as you pay attention to the guys actually developing Bitcoin and the discussions that they're having, you don't even have to argue with them. Who cares? Let them say whatever they're going to say. I mean, like if you actually have a valid point, make it. But otherwise, if you don't, just pay attention and watch. And to me, like that, watching that type of discourse is really what kind of helps me, number one, stay engaged. And number two, it helps me build my own conviction in Bitcoin. So I don't need, like I'm doing my own research. Plus I'm paying attention to those discussions. So, you just kind of don't need these hopium cheerleaders. So somehow I answered some other question you didn't ask.
Holy shit,
So
Sean.
Nice.
Well, we'll let him come in so he can say something before we push on here.
Make him do the RD questions.
I got you. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
We'll hit him with it as soon as he shows up.
Uh-oh.
And now we're going to move on to the RD questions. Sean, thank you for showing up. If you could check your notes and hit Phil with that one, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, let me check my notes here real quick. Hey, Phil, how's it going?
Dude, great to see you.
Good. Miss you, man.
It's been very long. Absolutely.
Says, if the meme factory did exist, and we all know it doesn't, which of us would you like? Which of us would you mute? Which of us would you retweet? And which of us would you zap?
What's the last one?
Zap.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. So for sure, zap rope.
All right.
Yeah.
We all know
Got
he
zap
needs
rope.
I need. Yeah.
I'm gonna retweet Sean. Yeah. I'm gonna.
He just showed up, but okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Shut up. You already got zapped.
That just lets you know what kind of presence he has. Okay, that just lets you know what kind of presence.
You're getting
Right
presents.
away,
True.
He's sending you
It's
Bro,
just-
you
presents.
got paid. Bro, you got paid. Come on.
Huh?
Rob, I'm not saying. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Can I get- All right, the last one's tough. It's really, really tough.
Well, I
But
think we got to
I'm
like.
gonna-
We got to like.
I think I'm gonna have to like. I think I am gonna have to mute Greg and like Yellow. Yeah, I don't have a choice.
Nice.
I don't have a choice. I'm
It's okay.
sorry.
It's okay. There's other members.
Nice
of
even
the
split there.
Could've
That works
muted.
out. I forgive you for retweeting Sean now.
Hey, listen, if he didn't put out so much wisdom, I wouldn't retweet him. So,
I can't. Facts.
All right.
but you're getting zaps, like, dude. Nobody else is getting paid. Even the retweeted guys are getting
exactly.
paid.
No. I'm not saying don't zap me and to retweet me. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm just,
So you worried about
Sounds like it.
You were about somebody else's what someone else is getting, huh?
Uh-huh.
Why don't you worry about
I just
what
felt
happened to you?
Real shit, Coiny. Have you
I
read?
just felt like pointing out that he just showed up,
Why don't
and
you-
I
don't you-
don't know why you're getting so offended.
Why don't you
why
mind your
it's
own
upsetting
business,
you.
bro? Why don't you mind your own business and what happens
That's
to
all I'm
you?
saying, Sean.
What the fuck, Rob? You gotta get zaps. My like isn't even visible anymore. Like
Yeah.
my like I can only
Nobody
see
can
me.
tell Phil like this.
Yes.
It's like
Okay.
it's one slight
That's why you're
step
so
above
cynical.
mute. That's it now.
It's like that's why you're so cynical, Yellow, because you can't see your likes anymore.
You could,
kinda
you know what
weird.
you could do? You know what you could do is see who likes your tweet and then screenshot that and then post the likes underneath.
Yeah,
as-
no.
So much
I'm not doing
work.
that.
So
Yeah.
much work.
I
have enough
retweeted somebody
screenshots.
already. I think it was McCoddleface who put out a screenshot of a bunch of people who liked his tweet, and I'm like, so it begins.
Yes.
Like, yep, that's it, man. People are doxing that. Doesn't take long for Bitcoiners.
No. Who knew that was the
Future
question I was going to
Bitcoiners are gonna have drama around. Yeah, dude, don't share screenshots of who likes your tweet, man.
Yes,
It's a breach of privacy.
he doxed who he liked.
It's fantastic.
It
That's so
does my
par for the
life, man.
course.
All right, so Coinicarus, you've been very generous with your time. Can you tell our audience where they might be able to find you and see more of this lovely content that you put out here?
Oh man, I appreciate it. Okay, well, come check us out on YouTube at Pleb Underground. Obviously, check us out on plebunderground.com. If you want to follow me on Twitter, my condolences. It's going to be at Coinicarus. If you want to follow our Pleb Underground, much less noisy, probably more signal, it's going to be at Pleb Underground. Thank you so much for having me on the show, man. I'm like totally humbled. I love joining you. I think the last time I was here was 2 years ago. And yeah, man, it's been a minute.
2 years?
I think it's been 2 years.
That's
When
too
I
long.
first started Pleb Underground, you guys had me on, and now here we are 2 years later, and it's so awesome to be back, man. You guys are great. I
the
love being on your show. I love what you guys do.
The emails are underrated too. The Pleb Underground emails. So subscribe to those Pleb Underground emails as well as the YouTube channel.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sean. 100%. At plebunderground.com, you can get our newsletter, and every single day we put out the memes. A lot of them come from these guys. That's right. We love their work. So check it out.
You already got your theme song.
He earned it. He
Thanks,
got it.
Phil.
He got it right there.
Thanks, everybody.
I'm getting a quote tweet now.
Have a good night.